Hi folks! So what is the Unity 2020 plan, otherwise known as the Dark Horse Duo, as proposed by Brett Weinstein? So I'm here today to try and offer a comprehensive view of this, at least to the best of my ability. There are going to be many details I leave out, but for those of you who tend to be the more informed type of decision maker, this is meant to be to you. So I've been following this for some time, but I've been following more specifically Brett Weinstein for much longer. And so we'll get into that and who he is and so forth. I'm breaking this down into 7 parts, and they are hopefully none of them are going to go over by more than a few minutes. But if you need to get right to the chase, you may want to click around and find the part that pertains mostly to you in your wanting to know more of this plan. So we're going to start with what Unity 2020 is, then we'll jump into who started it, why are people considering Unity 2020 and why is it catching on, at least in some spheres, what are the basic ideas that are prompting this, as well as how does it work, what are we expecting to see. And then the strengths and common counter-arguments against Unity 2020, just to help inform you what it is that people are arguing for or against in it, and then what you can do to learn more about it, because there will be a lot more after this. Alright, a quick disclaimer, I'm not a political theorist or other political science professional. I am a freelance educator of philosophy, logic, mathematics, and language, and I am also a nonpartisan independent thinker, which informs me actually a lot. This video is not meant to be exhaustive, simply the best that I can possibly produce at this time. And it's really only of what I, of course, am aware of, so please be gentle in your expectations. At the same time, I hope that you find this informative and useful. So let's get started. What is Unity 2020? So in my own words, because this can be a little bit difficult to find, one way we can think of Unity 2020 is a radical alternative plan to this proposed election by which the plan's members, that is the Unity 2020 plan's members, are looking to demand ballot access for a third entry to the DNC GOP options that will be obviously available in the election. That entry is going to take the form of a 2-person candidacy. So not 2 separate candidates, but a 2-person candidacy that's comprised of someone who represents the center-left and center-right of the current American political spectrum. And we'll talk about who some of those potential candidates for that candidacy are. This is meant to usher in a new period of stabilized political progress in the face of what we have seen as a demoralizing progress over the past few decades. At the very least. There are a couple of things that it is and that it isn't. We're going to cover this more in depth in the strengths and weaknesses portion of this video. But one thing that it is not a third-party write-in, and a lot of arguments have been made that it is, for that reason, liable to be one of many possible spoiler effect type of options. And the Unity 2020 has been designed, we'll talk more about this again, but it has been designed to prevent spoiler effect. Whether or not that will be true, we will discuss in a little bit here. Their current mission and goals. So, as stated elsewhere, especially among its volunteers, first thing that needs to be acknowledged is that it is growing fairly rapidly. In about the span of 2 weeks, it went from the idea of a single person with moderate influence in the public sphere to having 1,500 volunteers. Volunteers alone, not necessarily even people who are considering it as an option. Volunteers to the program, to the project itself. The movement is not really about starting a new political party, so it's not something that's meant to be added on to things like isidewith.com or something like that. It is not a policy platform. It is mostly meant to be an option to a better choice in the sense of a third candidacy that doesn't represent an entirely different party, but a well-balanced version of our current two-party system, and as such an alternative to that two-party system. All right, to check out more, you'll want to look at Brett Weinstein and Heather Hyings, their husband and wife. Check out their short snippet video on what that will look like in the long term, called Can Unity 2020 Win All 50 States? And we'll be sure to put that in the comments below too, in the, not comments, the description. So let's get started. And again, we're going to get into some background behind the project right now. So if you need to be, if you feel like one of those people who wants to be well informed, you want to stay in tune with what's going on, then this is meant for you. However, if you're really just trying to cut to the chase, what is it, and what am I supposed to take away from this immediately without necessarily understanding why it's here and why this is considered so important, then you will want to skip to part 5, where we start to discuss the actual plan strengths and weaknesses.